Good afternoon and happy Sunday. I am coming back here to share a little bit what I've been doing. This last week, I have been working on practicing my value studies and painting what we call negative space. By that I mean that you leave your lights and darks and then paint around them. You paint around your light areas to create the subject. For instance, I was working on these where I came in and painted around the flower petals. This is incomplete with the dark, and then came back, left the lights, and then came back in. So working in negative space. I also did this one, did the background, then I came in and I did a light layer, and then I came back in each day and I added some more layers. This is still something I'm working on. Oh, this is Pam, by the way. Good morning. I didn't even say who I was. But, and then I came in with this block of paper. I taped it down the middle because I'm trying two different things. I like to play and experiment. In this one, I did the dark shapes and left whites. And then after I did the darks, that dried, then I came back in and I sprayed it with this Distress Spray mustard seed color and did the whole thing with this ink. And I let that dry. Then on this side, there's another way that I like to paint is just coming in and adding water and then letting the pigment run as it would on its own. And then I come back in and add, I kind of let the watercolor define where the dark shape should be. Obviously, I'm thinking fall. So I was liking, and then I'm doing one side at a time to let them dry. So I've been working on this one. Today, I think I might try to come back into this one. Obviously, neither one of these are finished. And I don't know where they'll end up, but I just thought I would share what I'm trying to do today. This is my excellent Levinson brush. This is a small Silver Fox from Tracy Levinson. I love his brushes and thoroughly enjoy working with them. So that's just a little pitch for Tracy there. Love it, Tracy. I'm going to come working on this one, though. It has beautiful tip and wonderful consistency. I'm going to try to come in on some of these darks. I like the way this one is running, so I kind of don't want to really mess with that one. But I think I might come in down here somewhere. I'm coming over here to my burnt sienna. Just lightly adding some color to where the pigment has already run and given me a pattern. Obviously, I'm thinking about the fall and the fall leaves. And when they do fall out there, you know, it's actually kind of like a jigsaw puzzle. There's not any particular pattern because they're falling over each other. I like that one. I'm going to come back in. This is, actually I said burnt sienna, but that was wrong. It's quinacridone orange. Quinacridone burnt orange. Had to look at it, my label. So let me come back in on this one. I see kind of a natural pattern here as well when it dried. If people think it doesn't make a difference, the type of brush you're using. It really does. And I know some people love their Kolinsky sables. And for me in my studio, I really enjoy my brushes from Tracy that I have gotten from Tracy Levinson. Okay, let me come back in here with some more. This kind of comes down here. You see where the pattern already has dried naturally as the water ran and dripped organically when I went in the first time with my colors, just randomly. Now I'm coming in with a little more thought about looking for where those spots are and how I want to treat them. This is the way I like to paint. I know I see painters coming in with, I watch a lot online, and people come in with huge, broad strokes and different degrees of wetness and water control. And a lot of it is something you develop as you go. The more you paint, I think the more you kind of get your own desired textures and things that you like to work with. I really enjoy putting my water down or wet mark and then coming back in with my pigment. I guess that's kind of my, I don't know if it's my style or what, I'm not sure. But it's something I enjoy and just been working on more lately. I'm going to leave that edge there because I like the mark that it's making. You see that? So that will dry like that. Sometimes, obviously I have some soft edges in here, but if you go out and look at a pile of leaves in your yard, they're not all going to have soft edges. You're going to have edges that are crisp, literally, because they're crumpling up and drying out. So they really are crisp. So let me give a little more definition here. And up in here, because this kind of comes up this direction. I like having that bit of color up in there. And I like the way my paint yesterday has dried. Look at how it's almost, you see that leaf shape that it made when it dried. I really like that it just did that on its own. And of course, you've got to keep in mind your colors are going to dry lighter. See, this is already lighter than when I put it on. So you've got to keep that in mind. We were talking about, in my group this morning, we were talking about color. And I posed the question, is what you see what you get? I'm talking about painting colors and defining colors when you are painting. Particularly, I do watercolor. Acrylics, it might be a little different. You still blend though. I used to paint with acrylics all the time. And I love to layer and blend. And I still do. That's just part of the way I enjoy painting. But you do have to keep in mind with watercolor, what you put down is going to dry approximately 10 to 20% lighter, depending on your water ratio, how much pigment you have on your brush, how much water. If the water is super, super thin if it's going to be a lighter hue when you put it on. So all these factors come into play. I'm liking this though. All these factors come into play when you're painting with watercolors. So you have to be mindful of all of these. Okay, I'm changing colors. I'm actually going to move this a little bit because I don't really want to come into these other areas. This almost reminds me of paint by number, like we used to do in the old days. Well, I'm sure people still do. But when I was a kid, we used to get those paint by number sets, and you go into a certain area and you just paint that area. This kind of reminds me of doing that. It's actually quite addicting, I'm finding, once you start this. Doing your negative space or putting color in, not coloring, putting color in your spaces, but not another, working around the light with the darker shapes. Makes the light pop, as we like to say. And as you do this, it's to me actually kind of quite addictive. And let me get this a little bit more of a point there, which I can do with this brush. I think I want to do some more of this gold in here. Let's come in here a little darker. Make some of this pop a little bit. So far I've used the burnt orange, Quin burnt orange, Quin burnt scarlet, and now I'm coming in with Aussie red gold, which is one of my absolute favorites. I didn't bring my painting glasses back here with me, but I'll just take my other ones off. I see better without them. This is Aussie red gold, which is also a great fall color, isn't it? I'm not blending these with other colors ahead of time. I'm just coming in with straight pigment right now. And you see how I'm kind of working around that shape to give the appearance of a fall leaf right there. Perhaps it has holes in it. I did one the other day when I was doing my leaf prints that had all kind of little holes in it from bugs and whatever else had been snacking on that leaf. So, you know, you don't have to be super precise. And you've got to remember that your mind, eye will fill in the blanks. What you don't need every single detail when you paint a scene. Come down, I see a leaf kind of coming down this way. This reminds me of when I was little and we worked in those highlights books, you know, find the hidden objects. That is a fun exercise if you ever want to do, not the Highlights magazine, but I'm talking about in your painting. It's a fun exercise that I've done with my grandkids, and we just have such a ball. Take your paint and have a nice loose consistency in your paint, and then just splatter, just make splatters everywhere. Let it dry, and then come back and outline your shapes that you found. You'd be amazed what you find. We find horses, we find fish, cats, dogs, all kinds of things. I find myself finding shapes everywhere in the shadows, and we're all kind of familiar with doing that with clouds, you know, looking for the shapes in the clouds. So in a way, painting is like this. You kind of let your watercolor do what it wants to do, let it dry. That's my biggest problem, is being patient to let it dry. Look at this nice leaf right here. Look at that. that's kind of a cool shape. I'm just going to go lightly over that again, getting those little edges. And like I say, this is going to dry, but I'm leaving some white spots, or leaving some lighter spots is what I'm trying to say. I like that. I like that leaf. All right, let me come over to a different area while that dries. For those of you that are interested, this paper that I'm using, I actually found at Michael's craft store, and it's by Artist Loft. I don't normally use Artist Loft paper. I like 100% cotton paper. And the last time I went to Michael's, this was there, 100% cotton. I'm seeing another shape here. Hopefully you see it too, and that's what I'm trying to follow. Come down lighter as well as a little bit darker to create this little leaf laying in my pile of leaves. It was made by Artist Loft, which normally is not 100% cotton. Excuse me. But this one said that it was 100% cotton and 140 pounds. So that is what I enjoy working with. And it was $4 less expensive than, I call it Arches. I know the correct name is Arche, if I want to be French. So, but I thought, well, let me try it. I had a coupon from Michael's craft store, so I thought I might as well give it a whirl and see what it does. And it's not a bad paper. I'm enjoying working with it. Let me get a little bit more of this. I see a really pretty shape over here that has dried with my last go round. Having a brush with this pointy tip helps so much in being able to get the edges that you'd like to get and those tips that you'd like to emphasize, little points. And so there's another little leaf, kind of coming in a little lighter on this one. But I like that. Like I say, the leaves, as they're laying out there, they're very like a jigsaw puzzle. Come in here with some coin gold up here. Here's a nice shape right here, in my opinion. Kind of comes down like this, and I see little holes that have dried there on its own. So I'm going to paint around those and leave them and let it have that appearance. So that's what we call negative painting. It's painting the negative space around the lights that are left, or the light spots, white spots in your paper, your painting, and then coming back in selectively and creating that negative space. If you were to, you know how when you look at a negative and you just hold it up and it looks black and white, that's the idea that I'm trying to learn to do that with my painting. Like that would be the negative, be the black and white image. There's another one here. And I'm not really connecting these with water because I want them to stand out individually in my pile of leaves. And like I said, they are going to dry differently. So And it also depends because these are transparent colors. So the color that's already underneath is going to indeed show through. Let me bring this back around this way, let it dry a little bit, and I'm just going to step back and look at it for a while. And I like that. I'm going to come over to this one. This is different. This has a totally different texture because I sprayed it with that distress spray. Last night I started coming in with some darks. You see, it's kind of like a tree branch, maybe some sticks almost laying in the thing that I did with my wet brush as it was drying. So I'm going to come in and do some more of that today. I did that with my, this is Daniel Smith Warm Sepia. It's picking up the gold underneath. And that's fine. That's perfect. I mean, that's the whole point of this exercise is to bring some forward in your picture. I see a leaf shape there. You see it? Let's capitalize on that a little bit. And anyway, that's the purpose. So I like coming back in here with my brown sepia and highlighting some of these areas with the dark, and it makes the lighter colors pop. I did these last night as my daughter, I told my daughter when she came through my studio last night, I said, take a look and tell me which side do you prefer. And she said she liked this side better. I see some cool marks here. That kind of look like a leaf that's kind of raggedy there. So let's come up and do that. Leave some of the other color behind. In between, I didn't really like that mark, so I'm taking that one out. Come down this direction with my brush. So the brush really does make a difference. And this one just happens to be a silver fox. And you know, when you buy better brushes, yes, they are expensive. They're going to be more expensive than your other brushes. But in the long run, an investment, in my opinion, in some better brushes that help you create your best work is worth it. And that would be my Levinson brushes. And no, he's not paying me for saying this. Tracy knows I really enjoy his brushes. I think I probably have about 6 of them now. Why? Because I have different sizes, different lengths. Excuse me. And in my mind, they're all absolutely necessary. Okay, I think you get my drift on what I'm doing. I'm not going to continue to record all of this because seriously, this could take all day because it's very, like I say, it's very addicting. And I could just see things and go on and on and on. But I am going to continue, and because I have 2 sides going here at the same time, I am going to go back and forth, let one dry, and then go back again. But I want to share with you what I'm doing, my own little venture. I have kind of quit attending a lot of workshops, paying money for them, in other words, going from here to there and watching this and watching that. I still watch people online. I have my favorites that I do watch for suggestions and tips. But I kind of slowed down in the fact that I made a list of 16 things that I remember that are kind of in my brain, in my toolbox, so to speak, my art toolbox, that I know are important, things that I have learned, things that people have taught me or told me, and I know they're important, but I never really slowed down enough to spend some time and work on them. So that's what I have been doing these last few weeks, is making a conscious effort to not be influenced by every person that I see, but to come in and work on my own skills that I feel I need to work on. So this last week has been negative painting, and it's just a little bit about what I've been doing. And I just wanted to share some of that process with you. Thank you for watching, and I know some people are subscribing and liking, and if you care to do so, feel free. I'm not selling anything. I'm not promoting anything. I'm just sharing my process with you as I learn and go. It's a process. It's a journey. And I don't know that you ever, quote unquote, actually arrive. I know I haven't, but I thought people on the same journey might share and enjoy seeing what I'm doing and where I'm going. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.